Hey guys, also Speak Communications speaking, and I know all my buddies on here are doing, Matt and Effrey are doing best of 2011 and stuff like that. I haven't seen everything that I want to, yet to really make my list complete yet. I still need to see some crappy movies like Sucker Punch and I'm Number 4, crap like that, Assassinate Your Asshole. I'm kind of curious about Tintin, Mission Impossible 4. So, if I ever do check those out, it'll probably be on the list sometime. But anyway, I'm thinking about doing what the Oscars do, when they do the lists after, the end of the year. They do the whole award ceremony after the end of the year. I think I'll do that with my list. Anyway, basically, folks, this is just a little vlog. I thought it would be something different for once. And it was inspired basically because of a piece of news that I first heard from Zero and regarding Ghostbusters 3. And the whole story, I guess this is a hot topic. This is from the National Enquirer, though. And I don't really honestly trust the National Enquirer. I mean, this is it's a tabloid. It's the same magazine that, had, articles like, an alien had my baby. It's just, I mean, they're the same ones that slandered Arnold and said that he had heart surgery or some shit. He had heart condition, and he sued their ass for like billions of dollars. I mean, they're the most least reputable source you could ever really honestly come up with. I mean, that's a big problem I have with this bit of news. For all I know, it could just be a rumor and made up just to be, a nice little piece of news. I don't know how the Inquirer of all things is able to get the juicy bit of info. But anyway, what are they hiding in Dan Aykroyd's bushes waiting for the mail to come or some shit? Anyway, the whole bit of news is basically how the Inquirer is reporting that Bill Murray got the script for Ghostbusters 3, the new revised edition, and he promptly shredded it and put it in a box and left a little note in the box that said, "Nobody wants to see fat old men chasing ghosts." And then he sent it to Dan Aykroyd. First off, I think that's a fucking cold and mean, man. I'm sorry. Bill is just being a total fucking douchebag with this whole thing. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, there's problems. Yeah, Ghostbusters 3 could suck. And the passing the torch idea, probably might not be that great. But, part of me, because I'm such a big fan, I think it could work if they did it right. And the problem is, like, I want to know. I'm curious about it. And Bill's just being a stubborn little dick right now. I mean, because everyone else involved with this project wants to do it. Sony wants to do it. Dan Aykroyd wants to do it. Harold Ramis wants to do it. Ernie Hudson wants to do it. Sigourney Weaver is even interested in doing it. Ivan Reitman is on board. It's like, I know Ivan Reitman hasn't directed anything good in years, but this is a franchise that he's basically built. And, Bill has said in interviews before, like in the Howard Stern show, around 2009, about, how he owes Ivan one. And how, the Ghostbusters films are still popular to this day, and they have a lot of fans. I mean, why? First off, I don't trust this source. That's the biggest problem here. It's a nice bit of news. It's juicy. But is it real? I mean, it's from the fucking National Enquirer. So, basically, Bill, and the reason why Bill can get away with being such a dick with this scenario is because I never knew this until I looked it up on Spook Central, Ghostbusters website. Ghostbusters, the whole franchise, isn't just owned by Sony and Columbia. Ghostbusters, the whole franchise, is owned by Sony, Columbia. It's owned by Sony, Ivan Reitman, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Bill Murray. So Ghostbusters is owned by 5 people. 5 different people have the rights to Ghostbusters. So anything Ghostbusters related has to go for them. So in order for Ghostbusters 3 to even possibly happen legally, Bill Murray has to sign off on it. So if the reason why it wasn't started to get made in 2009, like it was originally planning on getting made in 2009, the year that the video game came out, and when Bill was actually really enthusiastic about the project. In fact, he actually was the one. They were surprised he even came in for the voiceover sessions, and he was so enthusiastic about it. And I'm gonna try to find this little snippet of the interview, because it was really just trying to find it because they have a transcript here, and Bill just seems really, really enthusiastic about the project, and it's like, where did that enthusiasm go? In 2009, that's why it really started to get going. The news for Ghostbusters 3 started to get up because Bill actually did the video game and was excited about it. Just trying to find it. Really interesting. By the way, whoever runs Spook Central, you're doing a great job. Really. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it because I read it on here. I know it's on here. I read it on this fucking site. Sorry. Sorry, folks. Stick with me. Come on. In 2009, that's really when things started to move up for Ghostbusters 3 because of the video game. And I'm trying to find this fucking interview. This is interesting. This is actually from Ain't It Cool News, and he commented. Bill Murray commented on Ghostbusters 3 at the Fantastic Fest. And there's this question from somebody. This is a fan. This is back in September 26, 2008. This is before the video game, I guess. They're working on the video game, probably. Working on recording everything and stuff like that. Basically says, the question is, I heard about this about a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to know how Bill felt. I want to know how you felt, how Bill Murray, how you feel about the possibility of strapping on another proton pack and kicking some ghost ass. And then this is Bill's answer from September 26, 2008. Well, I think the wounds for Ghostbusters 2 have healed. And supposedly they've hired 2 guys from the office to write a script, so that could work. I think that's a good idea to get a fresh look at it. I always like the characters. The characters are funny. And we did have a lot of fun making the movie. The first one was really a lot of fun to make. I think the first 45 minutes of Ghostbusters, or 40 minutes, are about as funny as the movie gets. We didn't have a lot of special effects then. It was just a couple. It was just funny characters in that world. And I liked that movie because of that. I think the first movie had something like 60 plate shots or something like that. The second one had hundreds. The specialist guys get their hands on the script early, and it was just gone. It went away. The script went away. It was harder to wrangle because it was all tied around the effects, without the story coming first and the characters moving through it. They're hard movies to write. And Dan really caught it with the first one. He really caught it the way it was set up. Well, the characters are fun to do. We did the video game this summer, and it was fun to do it again. I found myself walking down Fifth Avenue singing the song. People were like, God, that guy's really full of himself. It shows that obviously Bill still cares about the Ghostbusters films. I couldn't believe that when I read that. And this is in 2008. I know it's September 26, 2008. I know it's like two or three, almost 4 years ago, but it still works. It's something that I think really works. It's like 3 years ago, but it shows that he was still interested in it. And then it really started to kick up. This is a really good thing too. Talking about, and then I think he also was interviewed by. And then Bill Murray didn't, and then Dan Aykroyd didn't help by saying Bill Murray's agreed to do this and that. Ghostbusters 3, Sigourney Weaver, and the film might start shooting in the winter. And of course, Dan Aykroyd's just really pushing this. The only reason why I'm talking about this is because it leads up to really, in honesty. And then there's an interview with Howard Stern that Bill Murray had. See, folks, Ghostbusters 3 was first announced way back in the 90s. Like in 1998 is really when Dan Aykroyd wanted to get that made. And Sony was actually, honestly, thinking about doing it in 1998. The problem is, Dan wanted a really big budget. And Sony didn't want to give it to him. Of course, originally it was supposed to be So basically, this is another article from Coming Soon, which is into April 18, 2010. Bill Murray on the Ghostbusters 3 Nightmare. And he's basically, it's really the studio that starts this stuff. They start saying Ghostbusters. They want to do it. And it's really the world of sequels and bringing these things back again. And then some wise ass said, hey, we got a couple of new writers who are going to write something. I thought, oh, well. Maybe there's some writers and there was always this joke, sort of half true, half joke thing, like, we'll do it if you kill me off in the first reel. That was my joke, So supposedly someone was writing a script where I actually got killed in the first reel and became a ghost. But I thought, well, that's kind of clever anyway. when these guys were going to, supposedly the writers are going to do it, they wrote a film that came out, and people saw the film and went, we're not going to do it after all, are we? So it was just kind of a dreamy thing. They wanted to create a new generation of Ghostbusters, you know? They just like us to pass the torch. You see, the whole passing the torch thing, like I'm saying, I don't know if I like it, but I did like the show Extreme Ghostbusters. And the finale of that cartoon had the real Ghostbusters from the cartoon team up with the Extreme Ghostbusters to stop this menace that they couldn't handle themselves. It could work. You know, you could either have them teaming up together to fight the main threat at the end, or you could have the new guys are inexperienced and they get caught off guard. They're trying to stop this new entity and they end up getting screwed and end up getting sucked into an alternate dimension. And the real Ghostbusters, you know, Ray, Egon, and Venkman and Winston have to get together and you know, save the world one last time. Then you could pass the torch afterwards, and you could, and then that'd be fine with that. Originally, Dan Aykroyd, in all honesty, his original idea for the film Ghostbusters was to have multiple different, you know, ghostbusting Ghostbusters all around the United States. You know, that's originally what his idea was, but for the original script, it just it would be way too expensive to do the way he wanted to do it, and it was supposed to take place in the future. And there's all these different ghostbusting, you know, kind of like firefighters. So, continuing with this interview, when continuing to ask to clarify the movie really being Nightmare, Bill Miller told us this. Well, it's true, but we made a great movie, and then we made another one, you know? So we went to the well twice, and it's also possible to do the second movie as well. Only horror movies get better as they go along, because we have more money to spend on crazy effects. I actually thought the other day, it just became so irritating. I actually heard people, like young people, really heard of this movie, and they were kids, and I thought, you know, maybe I should just do it. Maybe it'd be fun to do. Because the guys are funny, and I miss Rick Moranis, and Andy Potts, and Danny, and these people are some people that were really, you know, I miss them. I think that's really a big part of it. So yeah, basically, we're pretty much where we were before, not knowing this is so. Bill is obviously he wouldn't mind doing it. It's just confusing the fuck out of me. He's flip flopping everywhere. So here's another one. This is from GQ magazine from August 2010. GQ asks, is the third Ghostbusters movie happening? What's the story with that? It's all a bunch of crock. It's a crock. There's a story. I gotta be careful here. I don't want to hurt someone's feelings. When I hurt someone's feelings, I really want to hurt them. Harold Ramis said, oh, I've got these guys. They run in the office, and they're really funny. And they'll write the next Ghostbusters. They've written this movie that he directed, Year One. Year One, well, I never went to see Year One, but people who did, including other Ghostbusters, said it was one of the worst things they'd ever seen in their lives. So that dream just vaporized. That was gone. But it's the studio that really wants this thing. It's a franchise. And they made a whole lot of money on Ghostbusters. So, basically they're writing off these writers. Excuse me, sir. We've been really, really, really successful with The Office, even though it's a show I don't really care for. They wrote a bad movie. But there are a lot of writers that write bad movies, write bad screenplays. David Goyer, why does he still have a job after writing screenplays like Kickboxer 2? You know, or Blade 3, Ray Trinity. I don't know if he wrote that or not, but or Batman Begins. Sorry. That's how I feel when the screenplay sucks. Anyway, I mean, I don't know. Year One was a bad film, but does that really mean the writers suck? I don't know. I just thought the plot was stupid from the get-go. So then basically, you know, GQ continues. Oh, sure, I remember the soundtrack, the lunchboxes, the action figures. Right. It's still one of the biggest movies of all time, and ever since the story broke, everywhere I go, people are like, so are you going to make that movie? I was down in Austin at South by Southwest, and you go at it hard down there, but fun, but man, we needed to sleep for days afterwards. Anyway, I got into one night with a bunch of younger people who were like, oh, I love Peter Venkman. I grew up with Peter Venkman. We got to talking. The more we talked about it, the more I thought, oh Christ, I should just do this thing. What is this? 2010. This is like in August 2010, just a year ago, and he was talking with fans, and he just said, oh Christ, I should just do this thing. Then just fucking do it already, Bill. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just pissing me off. I mean, the movie might suck, but Bill being this flip-flopping a-hole doesn't help either. I'm sorry. So, especially since he holds part of the rights too, which makes it really complicated. And the other guy's like, a generation awaits, for sure. You weren't even supposed to play that role, right? Yeah, originally it was Belushi. A lot of my movies. God, John died. What was it? 25 years ago? It's 82, right? I think it was 82. Don't know. That part of life is getting fuzzy. I read that he wanted to play a ghost in the movie. That's kind of brilliant. I think this is a stupid idea. Well, I hadn't wanted to do the movie. They kept asking, so I kept saying no. So once upon a time, I said, just joking, if you kill me off the first reel, then fine, I'll do it. And supposing they came up with the idea where they kill me off, and I was a ghost in the movie. Kind of clever, really. So basically, what the hell? Yeah. I should just do it. You know, these fans are, yeah, there are fans that would like you to do it, Bill. There's Bill Murray in the Howard Stern show. And Howard Stern is talking about, is it true? Is it true that there's Ghostbusters 3 and you're the problem? And you're the problem. You want to sign up for this? Do you know about this? Bill Murray, yeah, I guess I'm the problem. Before I was an asset, but now I'm a problem. The script was somewhere over there. There's a script. I haven't read it yet, but there. Why haven't you read it? Because you think it's a bullshit idea? That, in other words, Ghostbusters had its time, and you had a remarkable job with that, and now you moved on. Well, there's a little bit of that. I only made one sequel, and it was Ghostbusters 2, and it didn't end up the way it was presented. About 5 years after we did the first one, the clever agents got us all together in a room, and we really are funny together. I mean, they are funny people. Harold and Danny and myself. And with Ivan and maybe one of the two other people, we were just really blindingly funny for about an hour or so. And the agents, there was just foam coming off of them. And so they had this pitch, and Danny and Harold had already conducted some story ideas. And it was a story. It was a good story. I think I'd even read one or two scripts of Ghostbusters 2 that Danny rolled out before that. But this one was a good one. I said, okay, we could do that one. We're just kind of having fun to have us all together. I mean, there's some really Rick Moranis, and Annie Potts. These people are just stirring people to begin with. Howard replies back, so how do you go back and really make another? Does Ivan want to make that film Ghostbusters 3? Yeah, Ivan wants to make it, and I owe him one. He's puzzled that I haven't gotten to this one. How long has it been sitting on your desk, for Ghostbusters 3? Well, it may not be on the desk. It's over there somewhere. How long? Yeah. I don't know. So you have no interest. Well, I'll get to it. I gotta get to it. I feel badly. I got a message, and I think people are. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. It's not the most foremost thing in my mind right now. So I don't think about it. But the studio gets excited about every 10 years or so, it seems like, because what they really like to do is recreate the franchise. Remember Once Upon a Time was going to be, and the new Ghostbusters will be Chris Rock, Chris Farley, and Chris Crane or Chris Kringle. They had it together. And Howard's like, how's that a threat to you? In other words, why did they threaten you by saying we're going to put together a new Ghostbusters and therefore you guys have to do it? It's not a threat. It's sort of business-like. They like to keep it going. I mean, it's still amazing. There are still kids today that watch this movie and love it. It's still very popular. They still sell a lot of toys and everything. What? See, it's still flip-flopping. Bill, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he says, like, I got to do this. I got to give it the script a look. I got I got to do it for Ivan. And why the fuck would he shred the script and just send it to Dan Aykroyd and Ivan Reitman, just giving them a middle finger? That's just being a dick. But at the same time, I could see Bill Murray doing something like that. In all honesty, maybe in some weird way, shredding it and saying nobody wants to see old man, old fat man, no one wants to see old fat man chasing ghosts. Really, his sign of approval, because of the way he fucking does shit. It's backwards, so I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe the back of that note is something else, like, I don't know. Fuck, I have no idea. I don't trust the Inquirer. And, I just thought I'd just do there's a long intro to this vlog, but I just wanted to really talk about this more in depth, about these little interviews that I read about that I thought were really interesting. It really did give a little bit more into the insight on the film. And there's another thing that really did kind of surprise me. There's a Licensing International Expo, which is, you have Sony and all these different companies to have, talk about what they want to do. And Sony is targeting 2013 for a third film. They have advertisements here for Our Christmas, Amazing Spider-Man, Men in Black 3, and Ghostbusters. It says Spider-Man will be back in an all-new 3D installment. Directed by Mark Webb, the film will be released on worldwide on July 3rd next year. Men in Black 3 will also be out next year in the spring, starring Will Smith, Josh Brolin, and Jermaine Clement. Plus, Sony Pictures has a licensing program targeting the Ghostbusters core fan base for the relaunch of the movie franchise in 2013. Sony wants to do this. So the fact that Bill Murray, he has to approve on this. If Bill Murray doesn't want to do Ghostbusters 3, then he can't. If he doesn't want to do Ghostbusters 3, then he cannot honestly do it. And that's what's crazy. He can't. If he doesn't want to do Ghostbusters 3, nobody can do Ghostbusters 3. Because Bill Murray has to approve on it, because he legally owns part of the rights. So, my opinion on Ghostbusters 3 is, yes, it could suck. But there's a slim chance, just like there was a slim chance of survival of them crossing the streams and living. There's a slim chance that maybe it might be a good film. I look at Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I don't care what people say. It's not a bad movie. It was very entertaining. I thought it did a great job recapturing the spirit of the original films. I feel the same way about Live Free or Die Hard. I enjoyed it in the theater, even though I don't like the villain. Everything else about it is solid. Rambo 4, the sequel was made about 20 years, about 20 years later or so. It's great. Rocky Balboa was great sequels. I feel they should have done it in the 90s, but after hearing about what the script was about, I mean, this is another thing I want to talk about real quick. It still deals with Ghostbusters 3, but this is about Hellbent, the script that originally, Dan Aykroyd was going to do. And it was just some stupid crap, in my opinion, about this idea, about these characters that he wants to do. So basically the same idea, Dan Aykroyd's been wanting to pass the torch in this script ever since 1998, when he brought up the idea for Ghostbusters 3. And Sony was interested in it because they were doing Men in Black 2 at the same time. So, it's like, what the... So basically, I just want to find this little thing where he talks about, they briefly talk about what the characters are in this script. And I was just like, God, that just sounds awful. So, this is the whole idea. This guy on IGN Film Force from July 30th, 2010, named Stax, he looked at Dan Aykroyd's script for the unproduced sequel, Ghostbusters 3. Ghostbusters 3 Hellbent suggests that Hell is portrayed as a Stygian mirror image of the Big Apple dubbed Manhattan. Sounds corny. Has grown overcrowded and congested. As a result, Hell is literally evicting people back into the world of the living in order to alleviate their congestion problem. That's an interesting idea. Obviously, this isn't good for our world, so the Ghostbusters must make use with their latest technology to literally go to Hell and ask the devil why he's doing this, and see what they can do to make him stop. Naturally, the devil, portrayed here as a Donald Trump-type mogul named Stifler, has a secret agenda that leads to a grand conflict with our titular heroes. The Ghostbusters must once again save New York City from the evil forces of the afterlife. There's indeed a younger crop of Ghostbusters, or as the script abbreviates it, GBs, introduced that perform much of the otherworldly legwork here. So basically, these new guys, in his script back in 1998, is full of new guys. The new crew includes Frankie, a body-pierced, tough New Jersey punker. Reminds me of that guy who had body piercings from Extreme Ghostbusters. Lovell, a dreadlock dude. Moira, a pretty but uptight gymnast and science grad. And Carla, a Latino beauty. And there's also Nat, a pubescent genius whose powerful brain has made his head abnormally large. The fuck? And I guess in the original script, there's more jargon than jokes, and Peter Venkman doesn't appear until the end, and then it's only a cameo. And there's also no sign of Sigourney Weaver's character, Dana, nor is there any mention of her kid, Oscar. The action is driven forward by the younger Ghostbusters. Whenever the original Ghostbusters are in a scene, so basically, that's I just wanted to share that with you guys because it's so stupid. A kid with a giant fucking brain? What the fuck were you smoking, Dan? So anyway, I don't have much hope for it. You know, I keep because I'm such a big fan, I'm trying to give hope for the film. But, you know, reading this news about Ghostbusters 3, doing more research, and finding out that Dan Aykroyd had this retarded idea from the get-go of passing the torch, and never really considering having the original guys kick some ass at the end of the movie to say, really please the fans, it just makes me sick to my stomach. So in all honesty, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't have too much hope for this movie. If it does come out, I'll go see it. But part of me, I want to see it. Because I have hope that maybe it might be good, kind of like Indiana Jones 4. But, I really don't approve of Bill Murray's attitude about this project. I don't. I'm one of the few people that honestly aren't defending his actions. I think he's acting like a total tool right now and should at least look at the script with a grain of salt. If it's not any good, fine. Don't go to lengths of shredding the thing and sending a nasty note to one of your best friends. So, and also, once again, this bit of news, I don't trust it with a grain of salt either because it's from the Inquirer, and I know I've been going on and on and on and on about this, but that's my final spiel on Ghostbusters 3. I will see it if it does come out. I am curious about it. I'm curious to see if it might be possibly good, if they might do it right, but more than likely it's going to suck. But, it's my right as a fan and a paying customer to want to have the ability to see the film, even if it does suck. Because I remind myself of Alien 3. The unproduced scripts for that. I haven't read this new script for Ghostbusters 3, so I don't know if it's any good. What if it might be excellent? What if the new script actually does incorporate all these elements that we are wanting to see? We won't know. That's why I'm curious about it. I want to see if it actually is going to incorporate those elements that, that Ghostbuster fans want. I mean, Alien 3. They had greenlit a script about a goddamn fucking wooden planet full of monks. Didn't greenlit the William Gibson script. And the only reason why I know about that is because, it wasn't accepted. I mean, because it leaked online and it wasn't accepted by Fox for some stupid reason. The whole thing is, we'll never see that movie. And I'm afraid that maybe Ghostbusters 3, this script, may be like Alien 3. A script that, was really good and then we'll never see. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm not making any sense, but it's just, I'm curious about it. That's all I can say. I'm curious, but I don't have too much hope for it. But, Bill, stop being a dick. Okay, I understand. I know he really feels strongly about the franchise and he doesn't want to fuck it up. But at the same time, it's like, all these other people are wanting to do it and are on board for it. Dan Aykroyd has been really wanting to do this for years. And I understand how certain people feel about Dan Aykroyd and his wanting to push this on everybody. But it's something he really feels passionate about. So, and he hasn't had a hit film in years, and I understand that. But, I would pay whatever I need to see the boys back on the big screen again. But, it just depends on what... I don't know. I mean, this video is probably mostly just talking about Ghostbusters 3. And I'll probably just separate this part. I think I will. That'll make it a little bit easier. But anyway, I mean, one of my final thoughts on Ghostbusters 3, I'm curious about it. That's it. I'm curious about it. I want to see if it can be decent. I want to see if there's a possibility that it can actually be a sequel that, 20 years later, that is successful and actually works in all the elements. I want to see if they can let the guys improvise again. We could have the new guys. Okay, give me some new guys who are funny and innovative and something different to it. I, for one, I'm fine with getting some fresh and new blood. I know it sounds like I'm, but the only reason why I'm fine with it is if you give me the original guys kicking some ass at least at the end. You can bring in the new guys. They look like they're handling themselves really well. They're carrying the majority of the film. They're doing a great job. They're getting trained by the old guys, old Ghostbusters. There's so many great jokes you can make when they're older. Egon's gained a lot of weight. It's an easy in joke. You eat Twinkies all the time. Vega would be like, see, I told you, that was eating all those Twinkies was gonna come back and bite you. You should eat healthier. You should eat some rice. Eat some low-fat junk food. Venkman, there isn't such a thing as low-fat junk food. Well, there should be. It's a good idea. So, I mean, you can do endless stuff like that. I mean, but I'm curious about it. But cautious. I guess that's my final thoughts, I guess. Not that I'm allergic to it, because it's not, I don't think it's just, I'm such a big fan of the franchise, and I'm curious about what they will do next. Yeah, so, thanks for watching this long video talking about Ghostbusters 3, and I will check you later.